Has the church failed me? Has my church failed me more specifically? Which, you can get into it about how, the church is just a building and like we're the people are the church. Like I am the church. Like Romans 12:4-5 says, just as our bodies have many parts and each part has a special function, so it is with Christ's body. We are many parts of one body and we all belong to each other. The church has a duty to each other to raise each other up, to be there for each other, to have a community. And for me, kind of what I've been going through is my wife and I have been going to this church for about 3 years now. She works for the church. I worked for them at one point, just part time. In that time, I've tried to start a couple different ministries. Like for me, I felt that there was a need in my church to have a community of men that are in a similar age. So think of a life group, because we have a men's group at our church, but with that, we have an older congregation, so they meet, at 7 in the morning on a Tuesday, and I have to go to work, so I don't have that opportunity to go to it. Same thing. There's another one on a different day at 4. I don't have the opportunity to go to that one because I'm at work already. And it was also, since it's an older congregation, but I know that there's a school attached to our church, and there's younger families there, and I just wanted to meet these men. And I'm someone that's involved 2 weekends out of every month. I'm serving and helping kids and doing it alongside my wife. So with that, I'm involved in my church. I'm helping to build that community, to be one of the many parts. But there is something lacking for me. Like I want that community of men, of people in a similar stage, and I would love to learn from these older men that have more experience, have gone through raising families. But there's something about meeting people in a similar life stage that you can then have that church time and that body and that community of people to lift each other up because you're in that similar stage. And so for me, in that regard, I feel like the church has failed me because I've sent out emails to these young men and these young families of, hey, I'd love to start this. I feel that there is a need for this type of ministry or community, and no one responded. And I get it. We're young families. We're busy. We're working, but you got to have time for the body too. And so that's something I've been struggling with, of like, did the church fail me in that? And I was kind of thinking, people say, well, the church is a building, and that's so true. But for me, where I feel maybe I failed my church is that to get people to want to do things with you or to join into some cause that you have to have relationship with these people. And this was partly me trying to start this, was to build those relationships. But I feel like maybe for me, since I am the church, that I need to maybe push a little bit harder to create those relationships first. And then people will know, oh, Mike's this great guy. He wants to start this. Let me come alongside him and do this. And that's a hard thing too. And for me, I'm starting to do hard things, right? Like I want this push into more of what God has for me in my life. But I've talked about it in my blog about how I feel this inadequacy to do things. And I'm fired up about this men's ministry. And so I'm more encouraging you of, if you want to start something, build the relationships first. Be the church to other people, and then these other opportunities will come to you. And if you're feeling inadequate, just know that God has seen you through other things before this, and his strength has provided enough for you to pull through those things. So for me, I'm training for a marathon, training for some other races, just doing hard things like running and getting up every day and trying to push myself further than where I'm at now, which is hard to do. It's hard. I hate running. Running is not fun to me. But if I can push through these feelings of being inadequate, of being a slow runner, of being someone that maybe doesn't feel qualified to do certain things, if I can push through that, then I'll know that I can do it, right? If I've done this hard thing over here that maybe has nothing to do with anything else that I'm trying to pursue in my life, but knowing that I went through that and I did that, I know that God will help see me through, not in my own strength, but His strength. But He's also shown me at the same time that I have what it takes to be able to do it. And I just need help with that. And so part of this, the 925 project, is running your race, right? Running your race, even though there are many other runners in this race of life, even though there's many other runners, I'm running for a different reason, right? I'm running until the end of my life to receive this crown that God has told me that I will receive. And in order to do that, I got to pull my pants up and really get going and pushing towards things. So for me, do I feel like the church has failed me? Maybe a little bit in the way that I perceived it, but with God, I think He's saying, hey, maybe not right now. You need to work on yourself, and you need to build these relationships with the people that are in your church, in your community, and then once you have that rapport, then you'll be able to build up. So why do you choose to follow Jesus? Well, He created a relationship with you. And so with Jesus, you have that relationship. That's why you follow Him. And I don't want anybody to follow me per se, but you trust Jesus because He gave you a relationship with Him. He checks in with you. He doesn't text you, but He asks you how you're doing through His Word. He's showing you things. With all of that, I don't think the church has failed me, but I think in a way I have failed the church in that maybe I'm not pushing enough to create a community. Like, yes, I sent some emails out, and I'm trying, and I'm pushing to that and wanting that to happen. But what more can I do on the back end? So before you think that the church has failed you because they said no to something, or they didn't want to pick it up for you and just do it for you, but they rather said, hey, you want to do this? That's great. Go out and do it and try it. Then the church hasn't really failed you. They just want you, like Christ wants you, to be better, to grow in more of what God wants in your life. And so it sucks, and I hated not getting a response back and not hearing from these people and feeling like they didn't care. But maybe there's something else in their life that's holding them from that. And maybe I need to build up a relationship with these men to where they want to join in, to where they feel like, yeah, okay, even though this may be hard to find a day on a weekday to push forward and to attend it because they have so many other things like taking care of their family and their baby and working. Maybe if I build that relationship and show them, hey, I'm showing up, I'm doing this, I'm passionate about this, then maybe I can get the rest of my church body to want to go to that and to not feel like they don't have something for them and that the church has failed them. It's easy to scapegoat the church and be like, they said no to me and they didn't want me to do that, which I feel is just something that I've had to really check in and figure out for myself. And so I care enough about this that I wanted to share it with you and talk to you about it. So you can go to 925project.com where I have a blog and I go a little bit deeper into other things and show kind of what I'm training and the building of my life. And so maybe this is a part of me not failing the church either, of I'm pushing forward and I want to share these things, and the way to reach more people is through the internet, and in my own community, because other people in my community will see this. And so you can go to the 925 Project. It's the word 9 and the numbers 25project.com. Join me in this journey of pushing forward and doing the hard things and coming into what God has for you. Thanks for watching. Bye.